Welcome to the real world. My name is Cameron. Thank you so much for joining us on this very special podcast, episode 85 of the Real World Podcast. This is the second annual Reelies, our very own award show where we honor all the best movies of 2023. What a year for film. Pretty amazing stuff. Joining me, as always, my co-host Bert. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm fabulous, Cam. How's it going?
Doing well. Thanks for joining us. And also joining us is our third guest. That is Josh. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing well. Looking forward to talking about the movies of last year and about some awards.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you again all for joining us. Make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified of all our videos. We're movie fanatics, as you can tell. We've dressed up for the occasion of the big award show here. The Oscars, I guess that's happening this week, but hey, who cares? The Reelies is where it's at. We're giving out some really fun awards. We've changed a couple of our categories this year, which is always fun. We like to adapt that and kind of refine it and make it better and better every year. So that's the goal. Again, we just want to celebrate cinema. That's what we're big fans of, this incredible art form. So let's jump right in. All right, so it's time to kick off the second annual Reelies. Again, thank you so much for being here. We're glad you're joining us for this very special podcast, episode 85 of the podcast, which is crazy to think about. We're coming up on 100 episodes, this is really cool. So glad we were able to do this again. This was, something, again, obviously it started last year, and it was a great idea. I don't know who had the idea, but it was a really fun time getting to share our favorite films with many people. A lot of my friends and family were participating in this last year and as presenters, and they just all did such a great job. This year we're changing it up a little bit, and so it should be a lot of fun. But first, before we get into the actual awards, the categories, and handing those awards out, we wanted to just discuss the year in film, 2023. Such an interesting year coming out of 2022. Obviously, we're now a couple years post the pandemic, which kind of changed the whole industry in significant ways. We talked about that last year. And so, yeah, movies are back in theaters and they're doing really well. And it's really interesting to see how streaming obviously is affecting films as well. That's a major element of the film industry now. So, yeah, it's really cool to see kind of what rises to the top box office wise, what is critically acclaimed, that kind of thing. So first, I wanted to just start by breaking down some of the big box office hits domestically here in the U.S. Barbie came out on top. That was the number one film in the U.S. Over $600 million, grossed over $1 billion worldwide, which was absolutely incredible. Then we had Super Mario Brothers, the animated film from Universal. That made 574 million. Was another $1 billion hit globally. And then we had Sony's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which I've got right here on the 4K format.
Mm.
What a great movie, a great sequel. Just, the artistry involved in this movie is really incredible. So really, really glad that that one did very well at the box office, that we'll be getting the third film in that trilogy in the coming years. Then we had Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, another one of my favorites, the closer to the Guardians trilogy. Before James Gunn left Marvel Studios and went over to DC. Now he's the president of DC and creating the DC universe. That's going to be really interesting to see. But he just did a great job, I think, closing out this trilogy in a really strong way. Number five at the box office domestically was Oppenheimer. This is another film that
Mm.
grossed over $1 billion, which is kind of amazing because it's this 3 hour biopic about this guy. But look, that's the power of Christopher Nolan. I mean, he's one of those filmmakers that has become so popular that I feel like anything he does, people are going to go out in droves to see what he's done because he always crafts such unique films and they're always made for the theater. He's a huge champion of the theatrical experience. So that one grossed over 300 million world global or domestically, and then, like I said, globally over $1 billion. Rounding out the top 10 with Disney's Little Mermaid live action remake. Wonka, the prequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania from Marvel Studios, John Wick Chapter 4, and Sound of Freedom. Those
Okay.
rounded out the top 10 films again at the US box office is what I'm talking about right now. So pretty amazing. Some big surprises there.
That's
You know,
impressive.
a lot of those are sequels, but a lot of them aren't. I mean, like I said, Oppenheimer, a biopic. Then you've got, of course, Super Mario. That's based on a property that's been around a long time, but it's not a franchise. It's really starting a franchise. Same with Barbie. Obviously, that brand has been out there for a long time, but there's never really been a big live action film. Um, then you have, of course, Marvel has a couple in there, Guardians and Ant-Man, Spider-Man, again with Sony's kind of side of the Marvel universe, a Disney remake, which have been, pretty popular at the box office ever since they started doing those back with Alice in Wonderland. And then John Wick, of course, closing out that whole franchise. And then, of course, Sound of Freedom, I think, is one of the biggest surprises to come
Mm.
out of, the film industry in a long time. Very much a grassroots kind of campaign, marketing campaign. Was really interesting what they did, where you could buy tickets for other people to go see it. So I thought that was a really smart move. So they're getting creative. I feel like Hollywood's getting creative with things like that, especially independent films are getting kind of creative with the way they're releasing films, not just straight to streaming, but putting it out in the theaters. So I really like to see that kind of innovation happen. It's always really neat. So again, those are some of the ones that made big money. Bert, do you want to talk a little bit about, some of the ones that maybe stood out to you, either positively or negatively? What are you thinking as far as 2023? How did it go?
Yeah, I thought it was a really good year. I was doing some comparison to last year or the prior year, and then actually 2021. That had to be to me probably the worst year in film in my life, pretty much. There's
Mm,
so few that I actually even liked that year, so it was kind of a triumph that film was back in a big way in 22, and then in 23, I mean, it just as I look at it, it was even better. I mean, I seven of sorry, 16 of my um, top 20 films were 4 stars or higher.
wow.
And so that's a lot more than even the prior year. And before we came on, Josh mentioned action films. It was kind of the year of action, and that's sort of right up my alley. And so, so I didn't hold back on my ratings, but my top 7 films were action or sci-fi, one of those two or both. And so a lot of action, I guess you could say, this year.
Yeah.
And even though some people are tiring of superhero films, and in some, I've seen some that weren't great myself. Like I didn't like is it the Blue Beetle? That
Yeah.
one? Yeah. Yeah, I didn't like that one so much, but there were a few that did come out that were that I thought were really excellent. And so just to throw out a couple there, that I want to point out, John Wick. You mentioned it's the last one. Are we sure it's the last one? Because they keep getting better and better, and that
Yeah.
doesn't often happen in movies when sequels come out.
Right.
Um, and then Extraction 2, an excellent sequel. So another excellent sequel there. And then we also got some really great animation. Elemental, the Super Mario film. Obviously, Across the Spider-Verse was fantastic. Another sequel that was
Yes.
spectacular. So, so that's worth pointing out. And then, we got the great throwback, this Indiana Jones film, which we kind of thought we maybe would never see, with Harrison Ford coming back at it. So that was really great. And there was some good comedy too. Uh, the movie Air,
Yeah.
was pretty funny. The Retirement Plan, I don't know if you've seen that yet with Nick Cage,
Oh,
was
right.
well worth seeking out. Some good stuff there. So, but all in all, yeah, I mean, the highest rated year in a while, for film. If I had to point out a couple disappointments, maybe Haunted Mansion. I
Mm.
actually didn't like The Holdovers. I haven't said much about it because I
Oh,
don't want to
yeah.
trash it. Everybody's over the moon about it, so I just felt like it was Good Will Hunting-esque, but not nearly as good. So
Okay.
so I wasn't really on board with that. The Shazam sequel didn't do much for me.
Mm.
I should comment on Barbie because was the biggest earning film, and there's a lot that I liked about it. The sets and all that stuff, the coloring and all that was true to form. But I didn't care much for the story, I guess I should say. And then the capper, I think, is just Good Burger 2, right? I mean, I never thought I'd see that, and it's good. It's actually very enjoyable, funny film again. Another good
Right.
sequel, so that rounds it out good. But yeah, I thought it was even better than the prior year. Me.
Yeah, some great points you make there. Yeah, the Good Burger video that my brother and I did, it was one of my favorite videos that we did because it's us eating burgers
Oh,
and watching a movie, which is fun.
Yes.
Yeah, you brought up some really good ones there. Definitely. You mentioned superhero fatigue. That has definitely been a conversation this year as we've seen, look, like I mentioned, three of the top 10 domestically were comic book films, but there were many others that were very disappointing that really underperformed. As you mentioned,
Yeah.
Shazam, Blue Beetle did fairly well, but not great. And then the Marvels was, I think, one of the lowest grossing MCU movies ever.
Mm.
So there was definitely some there now this whole discussion of Kevin Feige kind of retooling and kind of trying to figure out how they're going to move forward with that whole franchise and kind of revitalize it in an exciting way, which I think is necessary. I think, for
Mhm.
franchises like that, there does come a point where oversaturation happens. I think with all the stuff on Disney Plus, like we're saying, streaming plays into this a lot. That there was kind of a dip in quality, and now I think they're being wise and kind of rethinking that. Not just quantity, but we really need the quality to be there. So I think
Mhm.
that's really good. I think that's a good thing. For us as movie fans, we're going to get higher quality productions in the future. But sometimes it takes, a couple of big flops in order for that to eventually happen. So, yeah, excellent. Josh, why don't you give us your thoughts on the year 2023 in film?
yeah. Well, just kind of piggybacking off of what Bert said, as far as like comparing years to years, I feel like 2019 was like the high recently of great movies in a year, and it dipped at like COVID kind of did take a pot shot at the movie industry, so I feel like that it has kind of definitely taken a step back in that sense of at least movies that I would be like, oh my gosh, this year had so many great movies. But we've gotten better, as Bert was saying too. Like each year has gotten better and better and better. And I think these last 2 years had some really, really big highlights, like Top Gun Maverick last year, and then like Spider-Verse this year. That just, you know, movies are back kind of thing. Just kind of blew me out of the water. So yeah, the ton of action films. So just looking through my list, I was like, oh my gosh, there's more and more action films as I like throughout that were good and that weren't great,
Right.
um, or that maybe were a little disappointing. So yeah, tons of action films. Like I guess a couple that were a little disappointing to me just because of expectations, not because they were good movies. Was the Silent Night film with Joel
Mhm.
Kinnaman. It was good, but I wanted it to be a little better. John
Right.
Wick has spoiled us.
Yes, it has.
Um, and then just for me, Mission Impossible 7 didn't quite live up to what I
Mm.
was hoping. It's a high bar. I mean, it's kind of like John Wick.
Right.
Each one gets better and better. And so
Yep.
it's kind of hard to keep matching that. Maybe that's why John Wick stopped it because they're like, let's quit while we're
Sure.
ahead.
Right.
Um, but yeah, some highlights. John Wick, speaking of, was excellent. Spider-Verse, obviously, the creator kind of was a one that no one really knew exactly. Like, it could go either way. It could be good, it could be bad, and it turned out, at least for me, it turned out phenomenal.
Mhm.
Um, another one that came out of nowhere that I wasn't expecting. I didn't know what to expect was Bradley Cooper's Maestro.
Mm-hmm.
That one was absolutely phenomenal filmmaking. Um, and then aside from maybe Ant-Man, like I don't know, I think I enjoyed the superhero films this year. I don't think fatigue has quite hit me yet, and maybe that's because I've stayed away from some of the shows like She-Hulk and stuff. I just haven't had time to watch them, but maybe everyone's like, oh, these are horrible, so maybe I just haven't had that experience yet, so I'm not fatigued.
Right. Gotcha. Great thoughts. Yeah, I'll mention some of mine. I mean, for me, Bert already mentioned it. Indiana Jones, my favorite movie
Mm.
character ever, my favorite franchise. Brought it back for one last hurrah. This is, they've said multiple times, this is the last one. He's in his 80s now, so not a surprise there, but it was really fun. It was a great adventure, much in the same vein as the original films, and they just did a great job bringing that to kind of full circle, bringing that character to his conclusion. So greatly enjoyed that. As you guys have both already mentioned, John Wick Chapter 4, one of my favorites of the year. It's in my top three. One of my favorite action movies ever, one of Keanu's best. The director, Chad Stahelski, I can't wait to see what he does next. So that's big for me. And then the big surprise for me was Godzilla Minus One. I mean, this movie really came out of nowhere, and it's a Japanese film. It's, all in Japanese subtitled. They even released a black and white version. I mean, it's just crazy how well it did, and to see the kind of reaction to that on the channel. It was our biggest video, our reaction to that film coming out of the theater, thousands of views, which is amazing. So thank you all for watching that video. Really appreciate it. And we're planning on, of course, more Godzilla videos in the future as Godzilla X Kong comes out this month, and many different things. So looking forward to that. Um, Boy and the Heron from Studio Ghibli, Hayao Miyazaki, another Japanese filmmaker. Is great. I love seeing foreign film come more into the mainstream. I think that's a great thing for cinema. It's going to challenge artists in really cool ways, and you just get to see different cultures and that kind of thing. I like that, how film kind of it's a global thing. It's something that all of humanity shares together, and so it's really cool to see those types of things come out. I'm a huge Ninja Turtles fan, lifelong Ninja Turtles fan. So Mutant Mayhem was one of my favorites of the year. I had a blast watching that with all my brothers in the theater. Doing that was really cool. Um, Killers of the Flower Moon, Scorsese, of course, he's one of the best ever. And getting to see that in theaters was really fantastic. On streaming, Rebel Moon, Zack Snyder, one of my favorite filmmakers. Can't wait for part two of that. As well as No One Will Save You. That's one that I think all of us enjoyed, that was really unique. And I like stuff that's different. So that stood out in my mind as well. So yeah, many good films, many films that I really want to revisit as I'm looking now on my letterbox list here. Some that I really, really enjoyed. Others that I did not enjoy. Bert, I'm with you on Barbie. I didn't get it. I guess I'm not not the audience for it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't really connect with that on really any level. So yeah, there were a few disappointments, for me. I know Bert and I differ on The Flash. I'm not really a huge fan of The Flash. I think it's kind of messy. But I'm glad that, he enjoyed it so much, and that, many people out there did. It's kind of sad that that DC, the Snyder verse is over.
Yeah.
But I am excited for the future, what James Gunn's doing with Superman and the whole thing. So looking forward to that. But yeah, I think, like you guys are saying, it's definitely something that it's been cool to see since 2020, that huge fall off that year, to kind of see cinema slowly come back and in interesting ways. And they're kind of, I feel like, still trying to find their footing. Like Indiana Jones, even though it's my favorite of the year, there's no way that movie should have cost $300 million to make. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Like, these budgets I feel like, inflating.
Yeah.
But then, small movies, again, like Sound of Freedom, are coming out that have very low budgets and are making a lot of money back. So I think they really need to find a balance, with their spending, and their storytelling. Again, the quality of stuff like Marvel, that's just going to get better, because, again, of some of these bigger disappointments of this year. So yeah, all in all, a great year for film. As I feel every year, there's at least, a few movies that I really enjoy. This one, I think, there's at least 10 that I gave 4.5 stars. So or higher. So really solid year for movie making. And can't wait to see what 2024 holds. It's already delivered some pretty good films. So, all right, so that's it. Without further ado, let's jump into our very first category. Well, we're starting things off where all movies start, and that's with the writing. That's right. Our category for best writing is up first. Some staff members at Premier Luck Cinema 8 and Pizza Pub Walden Lake are helping us by presenting several of these categories. Let's start with Marcos. Take it away.
In the beginning of every production, words are written down. These words guide the filmmakers as they turn these words into images. So writers play an integral part in making a film. These are the nominees for Best Writing. Air. Killers of the Flower Moon. No One Will Save You. Oppenheimer. and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. The winner is Oppenheimer. Congratulations.
Another premiere cast member is up next, presenting our second category. She shares a name with me. It's Cameron with Best Casting.
The casting of a film can make it or break it. Matching the right actor to the right character is extremely important. This is a difficult task and requires intimate knowledge of the actors, characters, and script. These are the nominees for Best Casting. The Creator, The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Oppenheimer, Rebel Moon, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, and the winner is Oppenheimer. Congratulations.
Tyler, also with the Premiere Cinema team, is next with his category, Best Production Design.
The artist behind the scenes must develop props, sets, and more. Every physical thing you see in the frame is overseen by the production designer. Here are the nominees for the Best Production Design. Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Indiana Jones: Dial of Destiny, John Wick Chapter 4, Peter Pan and Wendy. And the winner is, drumroll please, Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. Congratulations to you.
We combined a few categories for this next one. My co-host on the podcast, Bert, is up now with Best Costumes, Makeup, and Hairstyling.
We all know actors are glamorous, but it takes a team of people to achieve that perfect look. Costume designers, makeup artists, and hairstylists play major roles in making the actors look exactly the way the filmmakers intend. Whether it's a medieval princess, a real-life cowboy, or an alien, these artists help make us believe the actors are the characters they are playing. But frankly, I don't know why they spend all that time and money on costumes, hair, and makeup, when a good filter works just fine. But since they did, here are the nominees for Best Costumes, Makeup, and Hairstyling. Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3, Peter Pan and Wendy, Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, Rebel Moon Part 1, and The Marvels. And the winner is Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Congratulations to the creative team behind that film.
This next category goes unrecognized by many award shows, and it needs to be added. It's Best Stunt Choreography. Presenting this award is my brother, Caden.
The unsung heroes of movies are stunt performers. These incredibly skilled artists make us believe a movie star can pull off some of the most daring acts. These are the nominees for Best Stunts.
Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. John Wick, Chapter 4. Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning. And Rebel Moon, Part 1. And the winner is John Wick, Chapter 4. Congratulations.
Good friend of the podcast, we've had him as a guest many times. Ben is up now presenting the award for Best Cinematography.
Movies tell their stories through moving images. That is why both camera work and lighting are of utmost importance. The cinematographer works closely with the director to establish the style they will utilize to best tell their story on screen. And the nominees for Best Cinematography are The Creator, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, John Wick Chapter 4, Oppenheimer, and Rebel Moon. And the winner is John Wick Chapter 4. Congratulations, Dan Lawson, DP of John Wick Chapter 4.
Now, one of our subscribers, Gracie, is presenting the Best Lead Performance Award.
The lead actor is the one that we follow through the story, bringing characters that we can relate to life on screen. And these are the nominees for Best Lead Performance. Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer. Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. John David Washington in The Creator. Joel Kinnaman in Silent Night. Sophia Boutella in Rebel Moon Part 1. And the winner is Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer. Congratulations.
Now, her brother and fellow subscriber to our channel, Grant, is presenting the award for Best Supporting Performance.
Supporting actors fill out the film and bring the world to life. Sometimes they can even overshadow the lead actors. These are the nominees for Best Supporting Performance. Carly Mulligan in Maestro. Haley Atwell in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. Jackie Chan in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Madeline Una Voiles in The Creator. And Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer. And the winner is Madeline Una Voiles for The Creator. Congratulations.
Josh, my other co-host on the podcast, will now present the Best Voiceover Performance Award.
Voiceover actors take on the difficult task of creating a character by only using their voice. All of the emotion must come through the words they speak and the noises they make. A great voiceover performance requires an actor with no inhibitions, boundless creativity, and a big imagination. Here are the nominees for Best Voiceover Performance. Haley Steinfeld in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Bradley Cooper in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Jack Black in the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Robert Pattinson in The Boy and the Heron. And Leah Lewis in Elemental. And the winner is Haley Steinfeld in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
The Best Practical and Digital Effects Award is being presented by our subscriber, Joey.
How's the weather up there? To make the most fantastical things a reality, or enhance the realism of sudden images, filmmakers turn to digital artists. The best visual effects are the ones that are invisible. These are the nominees for Best Practical and Visual Effects. That's better. The Creator. Godzilla -1. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Rebel Moon Part 1. And the winner is Godzilla -1. Congratulations.
Now, our loyal subscriber, Levi, will present the award for Best Sound.
Levi!
Oh!
Reelies, presentation.
You're right.
You're doing sound.
Sorry. Sound has always been a part of movies. Even pianists used to play live during silent films. These are the nominees for the best sound. The Creator, Godzilla -1, Gran Turismo, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And the winner is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Congratulations.
Next up is our good friend and subscriber, Luke, presenting the Best Music Award.
Pipe it down. Sorry, that's my Space Alien Bluegrass band. They get a little rowdy when the stars come out, you know. Anyways, music, like cinema, can transport us into another world. And some of the best cinema, in my opinion, takes music under its wing and utilizes it to help enhance the emotions the filmmaker is trying to convey. Great composers craft music that compels and affects deeply their audiences and enhances the film. Anyway, here are the nominees for Best Music for the Reelies 2024. The Creator, The Flash, Godzilla -1, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And the winner is... Oh no, I forgot my envelope. Say, fellas, you wouldn't happen to know. Oh, Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse. Congratulations. All right, fellas. Is the winner. All right, fellas, take it away. Back to you, Cameron.
Back to our Premier Cinema family, Heidi will present the award for Best Editing.
Editing has a huge effect on how audiences perceive and interpret the movie. The editors piece together the story in a comprehensible way to make it easy for an audience to watch. Cutting too quickly or too often can be confusing, or it can be used to add intensity. These are the nominees for Best Editing: The Boys in the Boat, Gran Turismo, The Holdovers, John Wick Chapter 4, and Oppenheimer. The winner is Oppenheimer. Congratulations.
Carson, my brother and podcast companion, is presenting the award for Best Director.
Action!
Welcome to the
Cut. What is that? Start over. Faster, more intensity.
Welcome to the real world.
No.
Cut. Welcome to the real
Hey,
world.
how about you get off my set, buddy? How about you take 5?
I'm
Go,
done with
get
this.
out of here.
I can't work like this.
You don't know nothing about direction. You got no vision. Okay? Come here. Read me my lines. The director is the leader of the production, clearly communicating the vision of the story to the cast and crew. These artists are in charge of every aspect of the film and must make sure it all comes together to achieve a cohesive and fulfilling experience for the audience. These are the nominees for Best Direction. Make sure I'm in focus. Is it zoomed in on me? These are the nominees for Best Director: Chad Stahelski for John Wick Chapter 4, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Gareth Edwards for The Creator, Hayao Miyazaki for The Boy and the Heron, Joaquin DeSantos, Kim Powers, Justin K. Thompson for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And the winner is Chad Stahelski for John Wick Chapter 4. Congratulations.
Now I have the pleasure of presenting the award for Best Film of 2023. First, I just want to thank all of our presenters. Thank you so much for helping us out. The Reelies could not have happened without you. We greatly appreciate your assistance. I think they all turned out very well. So again, thank you. Now we want to focus on some of the greatest films that were released last year. So many films were released last year, but these 10 we thought were the best. These films represent the best of every category that we've covered so far. We put our nominees out there on social media so you could vote for your favorites. Our subscribers selected the best movie. The nominees are The Boy and the Heron, The Boys in the Boat, The Creator, Godzilla Minus One, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, John Wick Chapter 4, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, Sound of Freedom, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. You, our subscribers, voted on the best movie of the year and the best movie with the most votes. The winner of the award for Best Film is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Congratulations to Spider-Man. What an incredible film and great achievement in filmmaking. Absolutely superb. Thank you so much to all those who voted. Thank you again to our presenters. We greatly appreciate our family over at Premier Lux Cinema 8 and Pizza Pub. Thank you for watching. All right, folks. Well, that is it for the second annual Reelies. We hope you enjoyed this time together as we celebrated the best movies of 2023, the best performances. There's some great stuff here. I really enjoy highlighting the greatness of these artists, these storytellers, who are, sometimes putting a lot on the line to bring these stories to us. They're putting a lot of passion into these works of art that they're crafting with huge numbers of people. I mean, it takes so many people to put together a movie, and we just enjoy their work so much that we like to celebrate that. So that's what this channel is kind of all about, is celebrating the art form of cinema. And so we hope you guys enjoyed it. Bert, thanks again, man, for joining me.
Yeah, some really good stuff this last year. Thanks, Cam.
For sure. And thank you, Josh.
My pleasure. No, thank you.
All right, folks, make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified of all our videos, and we'll see you next time right here on The Real World.